All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. So yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings ended their preseason for the 2021 campaign, going out in a blaze of defeat, if you will. And it was kind of the same consistency throughout the 3 games of the preseason. The final matchup resulted in a 28-25 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. We're going to talk about that game and the preseason as a whole right here in a minute. But first, if you have something to say about the Minnesota Vikings, a comment about yesterday's game, a comment about the preseason as a whole, how you're feeling, predictions for the first week of, the regular season against the Cincinnati Bengals, or just something else entirely. It can be anything. This is your opportunity to be heard, so make sure you leave a comment on this video so I can feature it in tomorrow's video, which will be the day after Kansas City. This is sort of our routine here. If you're new, we do a post-game video, and then the next day we do a wrap-up video where we talk about your thoughts, your concerns, and your comments. So tomorrow's video will be your comments, my reactions, our video. This is our little collaboration project between myself and you, the audience. So leave a comment to potentially participate. We've had some good, what's the word I'm looking for? We've had a good collection of comments the first 2 preseason videos that we've done, so I hope to get more of those. We're averaging like 60, 70 comments, so I get a lot to pick from. And once again, if you want to increase your chances of being featured in the next video, your comment specifically, keep it short and to the point, because the screen is only so big and the screen caps have to be able to fit on there. So if you write a really long story or a really long comment, I probably can't feature it. I'll still read it, but just know that you increase your odds of being featured in the video if your comment is short and to the point. So that's just throwing that out there for everybody who might be interested in that. Let's talk about the Vikings preseason and the final game that they just played yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs. So first, the game. It went about as expected. The first team offense didn't look great. The Jake Browning situation, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut before before Tuesday, when they have to get the roster down to 53. I believe after the several cuts that they made today, Ito Smith surprisingly being one of them, that they're down to about 75, 76 players. So they still got 23 more to go, which is kind of absurd when you think about it. Yeah, there's a lot of players that we're going to be saying goodbye to. Kellen Mond, I think, probably had the best performance of the day and of the preseason in the second half. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, that one interception throw intended for Zach Davidson was a little errant, although it kind of, you kind of look at that play, you look at the clip, and you're wondering what the hell Zach Davidson was doing, if I could put it that way. Greg Joseph missed the kick. That's not good. Everson Griffin looks like he still has the explosiveness off the line. He was featured in, I believe, 3 third down passing situations where he got pressure and he was involved in the play. So that's a good sign with him. Ezra Cleveland looked pretty good. Other than that, it was just a miserable showing for the quarterbacks. Up until Kellen Mond started to get hot towards the end of the game, very unentertaining game. Overall, the preseason and this game in general, I'm not satisfied with, and I want to focus on some of the apologists' excuses up until this point, because I think, and I don't speak for everyone, but I think most of us have been, alarmingly concerned with the product that has been put on the field for this preseason for the Minnesota Vikings. So what do all the detractors like to say, when we try to invoke valid criticism against a team that we feel should be a playoff contender this year in 2021? The excuses that you hear are, it's the preseason, it doesn't matter. And to a large extent, I agree with that. I agree in the sense that I don't care about the win-loss column, right? I don't care what the score is. All I care about in the preseason is that we see this team be functional and competent. And I don't know if we saw that this year, and that is what concerns me. I want to take you back to the 2018 preseason, where we saw Dalvin Cook rattle off a couple of big, giant runs during his short and limited appearances in the preseason, which, thank God, he didn't play in this one. And when I think it was like a 46-yard run in the first preseason game for Dalvin Cook. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, I feel good. He's back. This is going to be a good season for Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings. And it ended up being the case. People focus too much on wins and losses. I think the people who want to dismiss the preseason as anything being relevant will just be like, well, it doesn't matter because this team, went 0-3 and then they went on to make the playoffs, or This year, I think somebody pointed out that a lot of the playoff teams from last year haven't won a game, and the Houston Texans are 2-0, and they have a complete dog shit roster, and they're expected to challenge for the first overall pick. You can't get hung up on the win-loss records. It's because the preseason games don't count. But what does count is the players that are, trying to win position battles. They're trying to win roster spots. They're trying to, break out. It would have just been nice to see like one player that we didn't expect to break out. We didn't really get to see something like that. So overall, I'm genuinely concerned because the product on the field was kind of ugly. It was kind of ugly to watch, and it was hard to watch at times. So that's my main concern. The other, excuses that people throw out there is that, X, Y, and Z person didn't play. There's been a lot of Kirk stands, being real quick to defend him by saying that Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook haven't played. I understand that, but I would like to see Kirk Cousins build a repertoire with the backup wide receivers, because at some point he's going to have to throw to them. There's just too many checkdowns right now. And I understand that that's like the safe space for a quarterback is when you don't feel confident in anything down the field, you hit your check down, you at least get something. We do it way too frequently. It's just way too often. As much as we check down annoys me, it's the same thing as, handing the ball off on a running play when it's 2nd and 19. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, you know that when that happened yesterday, when we ran the ball on 2nd and 19, I flipped my shit because I don't want to see that anymore. It's not indicative of this offense being as good as it was last year. So, those are some of the things that people like to say when they dismiss a preseason that didn't go very well. I'm going to go on the record and say that even if we throttle the Bengals in week 1, like we totally destroy them, like it's 53-14 or something, I'm still not going to be convinced that this team is going to be able to contend with some of the better teams in the league, because the Bengals are in a rebuilding project right now, and they're hoping that what they've put together is going to pan out. So I think we should beat the Cincinnati Bengals. We should beat the bad teams that were bad last year and probably going to be bad this year. The real test is going to come against, the playoff teams like Cleveland, Seattle. If we can contend and beat those guys, then I'm going to feel more confident about what this team can bring to the table. So that's kind of my takeaway from the preseason. I don't care about the wins and losses. I don't care that Patrick Mahomes absolutely smoked us in the 2 drives that he played in the first quarter yesterday. Patrick Mahomes smokes everybody, so it doesn't really matter. There's no point in getting upset about that. I agree with that sentiment. But the fact that the Vikings, starters, backups, doesn't matter who they are, didn't put quality football on the field through any of those preseason games. There was some flashes, there was some good plays, there was some things here and there, but they couldn't string it together consistently, and that's really what has me concerned. So, even looking around the league, as I've said before, why are other teams capable of putting on something that resembles NFL football with their backups, and we're not able to do that, and we're barely able to do it with our starters? Credit to Clint Kubiak for coming up with a very impressive pre-scripted first drive for the offense yesterday against the Chiefs that only led to a field goal, unfortunately. But after that and before that in the previous 2 games, the play calling has been suspect at best. And I heard a caveat that kind of not really freaked me out, but sort of put me on edge, was that Clint Kubiak spent the first 2 games on the sideline calling plays, and then he moved to the press box for the 3rd game against the Chiefs to call plays. I think you should have that figured out before the third and final preseason game of where you want to call plays, just my opinion. So that scares me a little bit. So overall, the preseason wasn't great. Not a lot of takeaways from it. So we have to hope that all of the Vikings fans who are clamoring at us that this doesn't matter and it doesn't count and there's nothing to learn from it, we have to hope that those guys are right. We have to hope that we're wrong, because in this situation where I'm concerned, this team is probably not going to perform up to our expectations based on what we just witnessed these past 3 weeks / month. I hope that I'm wrong, because I don't want us to have a losing record. I would rather everybody else gloat and be right, and I'd just be like, okay, that's cool. We're a winning team and going to the playoffs, so I don't really care. So that's just my sort of take on it. Let me know what your takes are in the comments below. Remember, if you keep it short and concise, there's more likely a chance that you're going to be featured in the day after Kansas City video, which will come out tomorrow. It'll probably be a little late because I have some prior commitments to attend to, so look for that video probably like 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time. So it is what it is. Got a lot of other stuff to do and take care of. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.